The forest still smelled of smoke when Eli and his father stumbled across her. Ash blanketed the Blue Ridge like snow, soft and gray, muting every step. Charred stumps jutted from the scorched ground, and the air was thick with the bitter sting of pine that would never grow back. Eli followed his father in silence, boots crunching through the wreckage of the wildfire that had nearly swallowed their cabin. Then Frank froze. "Don't move," he whispered, pointing to a small black mound ahead. At first Eli thought it was debris, a clump of burned brush or a fallen limb. But then it moved. Just a twitch, enough to send Ash drifting from what was unmistakably a bear cub, curled in a trembling ball, one paw tucked tightly against her chest. "She's alive," Eli breathed. "Barely," Frank said. The cub's fur was scorched and patchy, one paw swollen bone and raw. Her eyes, maudlin and fearful, darted between the two men. When Frank crouched slowly, murmuring in a voice Eli hadn't heard since he was a boy, the cub growled. A weak, pitiful sound that broke midway through into a whimper. "She's hurt bad," Frank said. "No sign of the mother. The fire probably got her." Eli didn't hesitate. "We can't leave her." Frank gave him a look, the kind that said, "We both know this is a bad idea," but he didn't argue. Instead, he helped Eli gently lift the cub, who gave a grunting protest that was more bark than growl, and surprisingly loud for something that small. "That noise is going to be constant. I can feel it already," Frank muttered. They carried her home. The cabin wasn't made for guests, especially not bear-shaped ones. But Mabel, as Eli immediately named her, despite Frank's muttering that naming means trouble, took up residence on an old quilt by the wood stove. She wasn't quiet about it. From day one, Mabel talked. Grumbles, huffs, squeaks, a constant stream of bear opinions that made it very clear she had thoughts, and plenty of them. She grunted when she was hungry, growled when the floor was cold, whined when her paw was redressed. When Eli sat too far away, she barked. When Frank sneezed, she squealed like he'd offended the gods. "You adopted a furry one-cub protest movement," Frank grumbled one night as Mabel berated a bowl of formula for being 2 degrees too cool. "She's expressive," Eli said, grinning. "She's bossy." Same thing. Sarah Coleman, a local wildlife vet and longtime friend of Frank's, stopped by the next day. "She's lucky," Sarah said, examining Mabel's wounds. "They'll heal." "Temporarily lucky," Frank reminded her. "We're not keeping her." Mabel, in that exact moment, let out a long, whiny moan that sounded suspiciously like, "No." Sarah laughed. "I stand corrected. She's going to be a handful." Over the next few weeks, Mabel turned the cabin into her personal jungle gym. She belly-flopped across the hardwood floor every morning, sliding dramatically into the refrigerator. She chewed one of Frank's boots, just the left one. She hoarded blankets like a nesting squirrel. She discovered mirrors and promptly declared war on her own reflection, barking and puffing up until she scared herself so badly she fell backward into a trash bin. And she never stopped talking. "She's more opinionated than your Aunt Margaret," Frank muttered, watching Mabel growl at a peach she deemed too fuzzy. "You're just mad she won the living room," Eli replied, stepping over Mabel's new pile of confiscated couch cushions. Despite himself, Frank had started grilling salmon at midnight and calling it for the bear. Eli noticed him slipping blueberries into her bowl with an absent smile. The town found out quickly, of course. First, the Hawthorns, neighbors and old family friends, came by with fresh corn and soft words. Then the Petersons dropped off honey. Then the Millers brought fish from the river. Everyone had concerns, but everyone also brought food. Then came Lily, 10 years old, grieving the loss of her mom in the same wildfire that burned the hills. Lily had been silent for months. She showed up one afternoon, watching from behind a pine tree until Eli gently waved her in. "She's wild," Lily said quietly, eyeing Mabel with caution. "She's also young," Eli said. "Like you. She's learning." Mabel approached slowly, sniffed Lily's shoes, then her hands. When Lily touched her fur, the bear let out a low, satisfied groan. "She's soft," Lily whispered. And after that, the two were inseparable. Days passed, then weeks. Mabel healed. Her coat grew thick and glossy. Her paw, while always a little stiff, supported her weight just fine. Her voice? Still nonstop. She narrated her entire day. She barked when she woke up, muttered as she foraged for snacks, huffed dramatically if breakfast was late, and groaned whenever someone changed the TV volume. Eli joked she was part dog, part toddler, part grumpy grandma. She's a bear with opinions, Lily corrected. Frank just nodded. Loud ones. One day Eli returned from the woods to find Mabel and Lily lying together in the living room. Mabel's head rested in Lily's lap, and the girl was gently stroking her ears. She was sad today, Lily said. So was I. Mabel let out a soft, almost sympathetic rumble. She knows when I'm sad, Lily said matter-of-factly. She stays still. It helps. Frank watched from the kitchen doorway, silent. The quiet came in early October. It wasn't just the cooler air or the gold-leaf trees rustling overhead. Mabel changed. She spent more time staring out windows, less time belly-sliding, less talking. She hears them, Frank said one night. The other bears, moving through the hills. Eli nodded, heart heavy. They both knew what it meant. Then one morning she was gone. No barking, no sliding, no complaint about the empty food bowl, just an open back door and paw prints vanishing into the woods. Frank didn't say a word. He just handed Eli a thermos and a pack. Let's go. They tracked her for miles through the forest, deep into the wild places, until they found her. In a sun-dappled clearing, Mabel was walking slowly toward a trio of wild bears, 2 adults and a cub, their dark shapes shifting through the brush. Mabel paused, sniffed the air, then turned. For a moment, she stared directly at Eli. Then slowly she looked away and stepped forward. She's choosing, Eli whispered. Frank's hand rested on his son's shoulder. She's where she belongs. Days passed, then weeks. The cabin was quieter now. Lily still came by. Sometimes she sat on the porch with Eli, neither of them speaking. Do you think she's happy? She asked one evening. I think she's free, Eli said, and I think that makes her happy. Then, on a cold November afternoon, Mabel returned. Thicker, wilder, but unmistakably her. She stepped out of the woods with something beside her. A smaller cub, muddy and thin, eyes wide and fearful. Mabel led the cub forward, right to the porch. Looks like our girl brought a friend, Frank said, his voice cracking. Eli knelt slowly. Hello, Mabel, he whispered. We've missed you. She pressed her nose into his hand just once, then nudged the smaller cub forward and stepped back. Her message was clear. This one needs help, like I did. And with one last glance, she turned and vanished into the trees. That night, Eli sat on the porch with the new cub trembling beside him, wrapped in an old quilt, just like Mabel had been. She didn't speak much yet, but Eli knew she would. Eventually, and when she did, he'd be there to listen, just like before.